So this is practice problem number 1, and it's asking you to write the equation of a line that passes through the 2 points, -3, -3, and 3, -5. Okay, now remember, our coordinates are always written x, y. Okay, so this is my x-axis, this is my y-axis. So first thing I'm going to do is plot my points. So I'm going to go over to the left 3 and down 3 for -3, 3. And then I'm going to go to the right 3 and down 5. So it's +3, sorry. -5. Okay. So if I connect my dots, I have a negative sloping line. So I should have a negative slope since my line goes downhill. So first I need to count my rise over run to determine my slope. So I'm going to start at my point here, draw my triangle. Okay, so when I count my rise, it is 2. And then my run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I have a run of 6. Now, so my slope is a -2/6. But remember, you must always simplify your slope. Now, since my numerator is smaller, I'm going to have a fraction, so I just need a number that divides evenly into both 2 and 6. And that actually happens to be 2. So if I divide both top and bottom by 2, I'll get a -1/3. So this is my simplified slope right here, -1/3. Okay, that's my m. Okay, we found my m. Okay, great. Now, if you notice, my y-intercept, or the point that crosses the y-axis, is in between my 2 points. So I can start at either point, it doesn't matter, and count. Now in this case, remember, I have a negative sloping line, and slope can, so instead of doing -1/3, I can do +1/3. Both give me the same value. So in this case, I want to go up 1 and over 3 to get to -4. Now, if you started at -3, -3, you would have gone down 1 and to the right 4. I mean right 3, sorry, right 3. So either way, we get to a y-intercept of -4. So the equation of my line is y equals -1/3 x minus 4. Now, if you wanted to solve this algebraically, -3, -3, and 3, -5. Okay, if we're going to solve algebraically, first I need to use my slope formula. So I need to calculate my slope using my slope formula. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I think it's easier to stack my coordinates, because in this way, I know what x is, I know what y is. And remember, it does not matter which one you label x1, y1, or x2, y2, it doesn't matter. So here, I'm going to do, I read down, so I'm going to do -3 minus 3, and if you should have just noticed that I just made a mistake, because my x values need to go on top, not my y values need to go on top, not my x's. So I need to erase this. Okay, y's go on top, so I need to do -3 minus a -5. Do not forget that negative. Don't confuse that negative in front of the 5 as a subtraction sign. Okay, you need both. And then my x's is -3 minus 3. Okay, so this is where we need to remember our rules for subtracting negative numbers. Okay, so if I have -3 minus a -5, okay, that is going to turn into adding a +5, because 2 negatives give me that positive. So this is actually giving me a +2, and -3 minus 3, that becomes adding my -3. So whether you learned keep, change, flip, so I kept the -3, I changed the subtraction to a positive, and I flipped the sign of the second number, or you learned how to add the opposite, so this now becomes -3 plus a -3, which gives me a -6. Okay, and again, I need to reduce my slope always into simplest form. And as I showed you previously, both numbers are divisible by 2. So I'm going to do 2 divided by 2 is 1, -6 divided by 2 is a -3. So I have a slope of -1/3. Okay, now I solve for my b. Okay, so I have y equals mx plus b. Oh, don't want to go too far, I need my points. There we go. Okay, now it doesn't matter which point you choose, okay, for your x and y value. So my slope, my m, is a -1/3. And I'll just use this point here, 3, -5. Now remember, my -5 is y, so that goes here. And then my x is +3. Okay, and I'm going to sneak over here, because remember, I need to simplify this right here. So I'm multiplying a fraction times a whole number. So when I do that, I'm going to make my whole number 3, I'm going to put that over 1 and then multiply straight across. So I get a -3 over 3, which when I divide -3 by 3, I get a -1. So when I go back to my original equation, I know that, oops, sorry. I know that this, oops, need my pen. There we go. This simplifies into -1. Just bring down my -5 and my b. Now my last step, of course, to get b by itself, I'm going to add 1 to both sides. So b equals -5 plus 1 gives me -4. So of course my equation, as I determined when I solve graphically, is y equals -1/3 x minus 4.